Children's Apprentice by Katherine Ramsland and Tracy Allman. It follows a true story of how Wondery Plus subscribers who listen to Morning Hours are free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app. Do you want to fun in your life? Audible membership can solve that. Audible is the ultimate destination for thrilling audio entertainment. As an Audible member, you can choose one title to keep from your entire catalog. Don't miss the serial killer Apprentice by Katherine Ramsay and Tracy
You're
Allman.
fired.
It follows the story of how Ethan's deadliest murder turned a kid into a killer and brainiac. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/48 hours or text 48 hours to 500. That's audible.com/48 hours or text 48 hours to 500. It's not Audible free for 30 days. Audible.com/48
I swear, if you never spend time enjoying instead of trying to keep up, here's good news. Music is the easiest and most affordable way to get a beautiful lawn. All you have to do is plug and for the rest. Weed control, fertilization, aeration, and lots of things you don't even think of. Down to chlorines, what you can do better than anything else. With True Green, you can have your lawn looking its best buddies. That's not available. True Green is the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. True Green offers a satisfaction guarantee, and they have a very competitive price promise, which guarantees you the lowest price with no compromise on quality. For you, let True Green be your market. Visit TrueGreen.com to get the best lawn at the best price with the best people guaranteed.
I'm Anne Marie Green, and welcome to Postmortem. This week, I'm joined by correspondent Peter Van Sant and producer Judy Brodhouse to discuss their latest episode, The Day My Mother Vanished. If you haven't listened to this episode yet, you know what you can do. You can find it just below this one in your podcast feed. So this case was really fun to put together into a season because they had to find the person who admitted to her.
Put something between you and the
Decades down and arrested. That happens in 2017. When did 48 Hours learn about this case turns out to be Michelle Sedona, one of the development producers for the set, who actually used to work on America's Most Wanted, and interviewed Nikki when she was 8 years old, 9 years old. So yes, all the footage that we have in the show, Michelle was there for that. So we heard about Peter's arrest and the brought it to us.
Which made it a very personal story for us. This is a case that creates, inspires, people that we met along the way here. Some of them are just the characters of this close thing. We're still trying to deal with the aftermath of this because it's a very frustrating case.
Let's start with Tammy's daughter, Nikki, who is such a pivotal character in this story. What was it like interviewing her?
Well, she is one of the heroes in this story. Such an inspiring young woman. Try to imagine, anyone listening to this, go back when you were 7 years old. It's a few days before Christmas. Mother disappears, vanishes from the face of the earth. You never see or hear from her again. They were so close. And Nikki was 9 years old when she was first interviewed by America's Most Wanted. And she actually read a poem, and she helped carry the show and inspire a nation to try to find the person responsible for taking her mother away from her. So interviewing her, you sense her nice heart. She's a gentle soul. You also sense the fear of all the things in her life she wasn't able to share with her mother because she was taken from her. And the hunt for justice is in her DNA. It's such a part of her.
Yeah, we noted that she her voice, she is, how accustomed she is to telling the story, telling the story, trying to get attention for her mother, for the case. I mean, she is really, really amazing. And, you know, I have to say, I attribute that to her mother and her father. Her mom must have been amazing because she's so strong and her dad did such a good job of raising her. It's remarkable.
It was so powerful for us was Nikki's dad, Ryan Myers. Folks, I'm over here in Texas. He is a classic cowboy, right? He's got the look right out of the old Marlboro cigarette ads or Clint Eastwood Western. He's got a way of talking, the Texas cowboy talk. He starts talking about Tammy, the love of his life, and he starts blubbering. I'm sitting across from him, and I'm almost tearing up. He loved her so much, and the tears that he sheds throughout our hours, you see that, it just breaks your heart. And that helps us get so invested in their stories because we're so desperate.
Yeah, I just thought this guy doesn't deserve all of this. It's been such a tough road for him in so many ways. He's so sweet. He's so sweet. Okay, let's get to the case. Tammy goes missing on December 19th, 2006. But on December 22nd, 2006, authorities find a highly intoxicated, naked man on the side of the road. Who was that and what was going on? Why did they end up out there?
We laugh because, folks, try to just imagine this scenario. A couple of deputies with a rural sheriff's department. They have a pickup truck that's going off the road. They get there, there's no driver. It's pitch black. They're looking around, they got their flashlights out. Todd Georgia, there's a guy out of the darkness wearing just a shirt, no underwear, pants, anything, and what a sight to see. And he comes up and they have a dash cam on him and he said, I'm sorry, it was an accident. The gun just went off. And the officers were, what are you talking about? Tammy, my wife. And the gun went off and I accidentally shot her in the chest. I watched her die. Now, how are you taking all this in? He's out of control. Here's this guy half naked and he's saying something absolutely what?
Yeah, and not just that, he's very fit. I mean, he tells them everything they need to know. Yeah. Right? But I think what happened was because they were caught between two sheriff's offices, two jurisdictions, he fell through the cracks a little bit. But I mean, to me, it was funny that he's I mean, he did it with two different jurisdictions, but even when he was watching the dash cam, he's intoxicated, he's kind of in it's not sort of a crystal clear statement, but it's enough, you would think. Hold him just a little bit longer, right?
Well, remember, after he sobered up a bit, they were asking him, what did you say about what you did to her? Oh, I didn't do that, and then he went quiet. Also, they sent a couple of deputies over to the house the other day to do a welfare check. And they knocked on the door, nobody answered, they couldn't see anything as they peered through the windows, and they didn't go in. I think if they had gone in, they would have seen blood, and this would have a very different ending to it. But the fact that they didn't, according to the officers, was clearly intoxicated.
Oh, babe, now we on some poetry shit. You're killing me.
What side of his mouth is it just as if it's the alcohol talking to us? It's their county, it's our county, and it just falls through the cracks.
And no one goes back to the site where it was caught once. No, they didn't. They would eventually go back.
Let's go. This shit ain't rocket
They
science.
searched the Tammy's pocket. Remember, this what they done to Tammy's just quickly.
Well, still, rocket science ain't rocket science, y'all.
And
One
eventually,
more time, let's
they
go.
get a search warrant, they go over and go inside that house. And what do they find? Judy clean up and
Now, I had a question about that, as it was. Because, I mean, what did he think he was doing?
How we
And
doing?
he was suspecting that once the cops show up, you think he would have started to ask himself, well, why did he ask me to clean up his house? I mean, we don't really know, right? They didn't tell us much about that. They didn't charge him with anything. He claimed he didn't know that a crime had occurred. So, who knows? I mean, we'll never know how much the brother-in-law knew.
this is clearly a crime scene. And it's a very odd part of this story that is full of
Right. But to point out, he was never charged with anything at all. But Later, once authorities hear what Greer's sons say they heard, they decided they're going to first degree murder. Some say that they hear him arguing with Tammy, and did they hear gunshots? Yeah, they heard. Yeah,
There was arguing they heard a shot, and then it later came out that they also claimed they could hear their father speaking to Tammy. He says, "Are you dead? Are you still alive?" And he's considered dead, including his quote. Combined with the man who's confessing, naked out of the dark, but confessing that he had shot Tammy and watched her die. I think we got ourselves.
even if we don't.
There's no body. There's everything done. God. Quote unquote, in his house. You got her home, his car, having on dash cam saying that he shot her and watched her die. And then he flees, folks. What innocent guy flees? And then he flees. I mean, it seems it's on the platter to me. You're right.
Yes. I've seen a lot less on this thing. So, I see but these shows daily, we always see that but he's still able to play. I mean, people watch these shows, but you see different communities making friends, and just being like, that's true. If you're still talking along, people are watching Russell 100. It's funny because we asked, like, was this a good thing or a bad thing? Every time we saw it in film on television, we would get up and take off, right? And the merchants said it's actually a good thing. They want you to keep moving because eventually they'll make a mistake. And he's not using confidence because he's actually in his business. Probably. And, women will do things for you.
One of the words we worked at a deli. So there was some paper trail.
And he wrote nice. And he was quite the champ.
It's quite remarkable how agile he was in being able to just pick up and go and ingratiate himself with someone else that just started with the fight. And also, think of the casualties that he left behind, because these women, many of them cared deeply. Some of them fell in love with him. But once he got word he was on America's Most Wanted, the most recent edition of this case, he's gone.
It's really fun to try and make memories for a while now. Both busy schedules and having difficulty taking on excursions. Booking the trip has fallen to the wayside. That's why I'm excited to use Viator is a tool you can use to plan and book travel experiences. The Viator website makes it easy to explore and plan 300,000 plus travel experiences to equal the seven out there. No matter where you're traveling or what you're interested in, you can plan something everyone you're traveling with full of. Enjoy real traveler reviews to get insider information from people who have already been on the experiences you're considering. Plus, they offer free cancellation and 24/7 customer service, so you know you'll get support in any hour if things aren't going as planned. Download the Viator and use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking and you can find the travel experiences for you to do more and Viator.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Everything is more exhilarating when driving a motorcycle, just like your bike is more protected when you choose Progressive motorcycle insurance. They offer coverage for your bike starting as low as $75 per year, and they keep things affordable with discounts like paid in full, multi-policy, and responsible driver. So raise your kickstands and get to quoting at Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, $75 premium is for state minimum coverage. Not available in DC. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
The U.S. Marshals were involved in this case, and they were so invested in the case. Even one held on to the handcuffs that they used to arrest her. As a trophy, I guess. What was it like interviewing you?
For me, this was when Rick the Lights show. Folks, we love doing stories in Texas because everyone seems to be a character actor down there. And these U.S. commercials are right off of our list.
Insert the
They
drop.
are
You don't get a
clean
cent
talking,
before the
straight
upload is
talking.
complete.
They are absolutely driven. They have a saying they told us
I'm
we
not
didn't
being
even
paranoid.
They're
You're
saying
gonna try and
justice.
kill me. And you.
It's just like something Clint Eastwood was there. I mean, that's the nature of these guys, is that's the tradition. That's the nature of and these guys have a dedication. I've done a wonderful story of other stories. This is a
What's his name?
Leslie Graydon. But it's appropriate. I mean, this is a pretty distinctive feature, and for Mike
I liked it.
everything else. It makes the show for but they everything. It's into what you guys said. They sent us this statement, which we have shown get paid. We are about so much time has changed.
Get that son of a bitch!
Present for Surgeon Randy's remains and usually participated in prayers with what they had there.
It's deeply see the volunteers there. You can understand who they shed some tears for us. Also, all of this book was inspiring and instructive.
I was standing to the parents of something that he was doing. And also I
Wait up! Cover fire! Give it up!
nice and
What was powerful about a book of this book that was so really close to the defense it was part of the motion. For us, let's hope when Echo Search goes back out there, maybe they'll luck out. Maybe Nikki's dreaming through and realize.
Yes, and screaming. It's great for 48 hours subscription.
Get behind something!
Hey, Prime members, you can listen to 48 Hours podcast.
Time to bleed! Take cover! Moron! Get cover! Get that son of a bitch!
Survivor 46 is here, and so is On Fire. The official Survivor podcast has been witnessed. The winner of Survivor
Fall behind!
wherever you get your podcast.
Bend over, here it comes!
Of 60 minutes, has one squash news and information on the podcast. In-depth investigations across politics,
Say something!
on the schedule,
You dirtbag!
60 minutes.
Take him down! Oh, shit! Get out the way! Moron! Get him!
Alright, we done. Talk to Ivy. Let's get paid.
Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to 48 Hours ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app. Need more true crime in your life? An Audible membership can solve that. Audible is the ultimate destination for thrilling audio entertainment. As an Audible member, you can choose one title a month to keep from the entire catalog. Don't miss The Serial Killer's Apprentice by Catherine Ramsay and Tracy Ullman. It follows the true story of how Houston's deadliest murder turned a kid into a killer in training. New members can try
Well, that
Audible
was
free for 30 days.
terrifying. But
Visit
thank you. We
audible.com/48
just changed the
hours
world a
or
little bit.
text 48
And made
hours
you
to
a lot
500
richer.
500.
A lot
That's
richer.
audible.com/48 hours or text 48 hours to 500 500
Thank you very
to
much.
try
It's been
Audible free for 30
And
days.
You don't know me? I was never here.
Audible.com/48 hours.
This spring, if you'd rather spend time enjoying your lawn instead of trying to keep it alive, there's good news. True Green is the easiest and most affordable way to get a beautiful lawn. All you have to do is water and mow, and they'll do the rest. Weed control, fertilization, aeration, and lots of things you might not even think of. They'll do all of it, while you can do literally anything else. With True Green, you could have your lawn looking as good as a putting green. That's not hyperbole. True Green is the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. True Green offers a satisfaction guarantee, and they have a verified best price promise, which guarantees you the lowest price with no compromise on quality. You do you. Let True Green do your lawn care. Visit TrueGreen.com to get the best lawn at the best price with the best people guaranteed.
My mom's gone. She's nowhere to be found. Where would she be? She's gone. I need to find her. My name is Vicky Bates, and my mom is Janet Myers.
How old were you when your mother disappeared?
I was only 7 years old. It was just like a heavy weight. It was a feeling like you couldn't breathe.
She would have called, she would have found a way to call. You got 3 little kids, and they're missing their mom. What do you say? Well, I know exactly how I did it. I know one of the toughest things I ever did.
I'm Ryan Myers, and Tammy Myers is my wife. Even after we separated, we remained close.
My mom is the love of his life.
Tammy was loving and caring.
Fun, easygoing, electric.
And overall, a great person to be around.
You were never here.
Your mother needs a man who would soon play a major role in all of your lives. Who was that?
William Greer. My mom and my dad split up, and she gets it. This man's rich, he has money, we got to do all these fun things, so immediately, just like we're drawn to it, until, we realized that our mom wasn't happy. When they were together, he was very abusive.
As a little girl, do you remember seeing your mother in pain?
Yes, she was bleeding, she was fluid, she could barely walk.
Did she ever report any of this to police?
Not that I know of.
What happened on December 19th, 2006, in Greer's home? There was an argument that ensued.
William Greer did not like the direction the conversation was going, retrieved his shotgun, and shot Tammy.
He's definitely one of the worst and worst. He's an evil murderer.
My name's Cameron Welch. I'm Josh Wright.
Leslie Raymond. I was one of the U.S. Marshals.
One of the U.S. Marshals. One of the U.S. Marshals.
So what you
hunting
looking
William Greer.
They find
Always
blood
gotta have
all
a
over
mag
the
of that.
house. They find the bullet holes.
Is William Greer still at the house?
Need
He
any
has fled. Nowhere to be found.
Yup.
He's just gone.
Gotta load up.
To Georgia,
Get out.
New Orleans, Kentucky.
That a lot of money.
America's most wanted. By this time, he's making the TV scene.
We introduce you to William Greer.
When he saw himself on TV, he just got
I'll
up
be
and
here
left.
if you need
To
anything.
move on to the next place.
Always gotta have a mag of that.
American Most
Need
Wanted, they were the first ones to interview us.
Did it give you some hope?
It did. They had a few leads, but
Stay strapped.
it died down. And we didn't have anything else for years. Where is she? Where's William at?
You kind of went on a mission, didn't you?
I did.
What was that mission?
To not only find William, but to just keep my mom's name and her case alive.
She'd be a great deputy U.S. Marshal.
You took the words out of my mouth.
She's tenacious. Yeah, we love that.
The family wants somebody who's going to push hard to do what needs to be
Looking
done.
good, boss.
We will never stop.
Justice is coming.
You're going to see reports the day they vanished.
You always hear that time heals, it'll get better, it'll get easier. That is not true. I think it's harder as an adult without a mom than it was as a kid. We have graduation that she misses. She missed my wedding. She has 8 grandchildren that she will never meet.
Nikki Myers Bates lost her mother nearly 2 decades ago when she was just 7 years old. But she says no amount of time will heal this wound.
This is my family.
Now a mother of 3 herself, Nikki is still searching for her mother and fighting to bring the man who killed her to justice.
Pretty much when I became a teenager, got my cell phone. I read every article,
Later.
every news video. I've seen it, I read it.
Ryan, even when you talk about her today, you get emotional about it. Why is that?
I still love her.
Still love her. Ryan Myers says he and Tammy were just teenagers when they first fell in love. 20 when he asked her to marry him.
The first year we were together, we had a kid. And the following year, had another kid. A few years later, we had Nikki.
Nikki says there wasn't much money to go around, but there was always more than enough love, especially between mother and daughter.
She was very loving. She was nice to be with my mom. Even though she had two boys, she was very girly, full of life, fun, energetic.
Ryan worked long hours as a window installer, so Tammy could be a full-time mom. Then, fate dealt the Myers family a devastating blow.
My dad was working on top of the 3-story building. He got electrocuted and fell off and hit the concrete.
I fell through the floor and broke my back and legs. And unfortunately, it got down with a torn hand. insurance.
How did you pay for all this?
Well, I mean, essentially Tammy had to work and try to pay some of the bills while I was down.
And she had no experience, so she did what she thought was easiest and became a stripper. Okay. She became a female dancer.
How did your dad take all of this?
I don't think he loved it. I think he wanted her to find another job, but she was like, it's fine, nothing's happening here, I'm just getting the money.
And so it was, until Tammy met a big spender named William Greer.
He was, as far as I know, a regular at the club. He threw a lot of money around.
Where did he get his money?
He owned a vending machine company. So her and my dad split up, and she gets it.
Sometime in 2006, Tammy moved about an hour away to Spring, Texas, in this house with Greer and 2 sons from his first marriage. Nikki and her brothers would spend the weekends there. Was he kind to you?
As far as I remember, yes. Always giving us money, trying to take us on trips.
Did your mom stop working as a stripper?
Yes.
Did you sense that William Greer was good for you?
When I first met him, yes.
But things would turn ugly over time, says Nikki. Not long before her mother went missing, Nikki says there were clear signs of physical abuse, which Tammy documented in these photos.
She stole his truck and came all the way to Cleveland from Spring, and she could barely get out of the car, and she was bleeding, she was bruised.
Nikki says her mom tried to cover it up.
She had told us that it was a dirt bike accident, but she had told my stepmother that he had hit her with nunchucks.
What's nunchuck?
You see karate, the wooden things you swing around?
He hit her with that.
Yeah.
Nikki says Greer came looking for his truck and her mother.
My dad was like, you need to get off my property. And he was arguing, saying, well, she stole my truck. And my dad's like, I don't care. You need to get off my property. You know, my dad always says, I wish I was as strong because your mom would still be here.
Nikki says she has since learned that her mother had been warned about Greer's propensity for violence by someone who knew him well, his ex-wife.
She would tell my mom that, you know, you need to leave him, he's dangerous.
Sadly, it seems like Tammy may have been thinking about doing just that, but ran out of time. And is it true that the two of you were thinking about getting back together, talking about getting back together before she disappeared?
Yes, sir.
Then, as Christmas 2006 approached, Tammy mysteriously vanished.
I had a missed call from her and I tried to call her back. I didn't get a response.
I remember crying a lot. Just being devastated, not only for me, but seeing my dad that way was just devastating.
And that's when this case took the first of many bizarre turns. Just 8 days before Tammy was reported missing, Greer was arrested for public intoxication.
Can you tell me your full name? William Jacob Greer.
This is Greer on dash cam video, confessing to 2 sheriff's deputies that he had shot Tammy. Were you aware that William Greer had been arrested by sheriff's deputies at that time?
No, sir.
And in the next strange twist, Greer was released.
I'm still alive. When somebody's there admitted to something, why you would just turn loose so easily.
48-hour listeners know to always expect the unexpected, including when home appliances break down. An American Home Shield warranty can restore your sense of security. It's simple. When a covered item in your home breaks, contact American Home Shield, and their trusted and qualified pros will fix or replace it. Right now, you can take 20% off. Go to ahs.com/48 to save 20%. That's ahs.com/48 for 20% off any plan. For more details, see ahs.com/contracts for coverage details, including limit amounts, fees, limitations, and exclusions. New Jersey residents, The product being offered is a service contract and is separate and distinct from any product or service warranty which may be provided by the home builder or manufacturer. American Home Shield. Don't worry, be warranty. If you're a fan of 48 Hours or true crime, looking to try on a case of your own, June's Journey is for you. A thrilling hidden object mystery game set against the backdrop of the 1920s. You play as June Parker, an amateur detective trying to unravel your sister's mysterious murder. As you dive into a world filled with twists and turns, trust no one. Every character could be hiding secrets. While you piece together the intricately woven plot, you'll collect crucial information in your photo album, turning suspicions into facts. And if you want help on the case, you can even join a detective club to collaborate or compete with fellow sleuths on hundreds of puzzles. Discover your inner detective when you download June's Journey for free today on iOS and Android.
Back in 2006, Paul Lasko was a deputy for the Liberty County Sheriff's Office. In the early morning hours of December 22nd, Lasko and his partner got a call about suspicious activity on this road in Cleveland, Texas.
There was a vehicle, a truck in the ditch here, and there was somebody. The truck was running, the lights were on, the door was open.
The whole thing was captured on this dash cam video. Lasko says that at the time, there was a fenced-in field over a large wooded area.
My partner went down the driveway here. Next to the driveway was like a brush pile that was pulled up.
That's where Lasko's partner found the missing driver, a highly intoxicated William Greer.
It appeared that he had been using some sort of drugs. That's where he had
He was also half naked.
He had a button-up shirt on and no pants. No under, he was naked from the waist down.
Now, you've seen a lot of things. How strange was this?
This was pretty strange.
Greer's clothing was never recovered, but much more alarming than his physical state was what Greer really said to two detectives.
He said that he accidentally shot Tammy in the chest and that he wanted to go.
Greer told them the shooting had taken place at his home in Spring, about 40 miles southwest of Cleveland. A different county with a different sheriff. Back then, Sid Miller was a homicide detective in the Harris County Sheriff's Office. He would later learn that Harris County had been contacted by a Liberty County dispatcher and asked to send 2 deputies to Greer's home for a welfare check.
They peered through the window, looked inside, and they didn't see anything that was welfare in their opinion.
Our dispatch notified us that Harris County went out there and everything looked fine.
Lasko says they attempted to question Greer some more, but by then he had sobered up and stopped talking. Without probable cause that a murder had occurred, all Greer could be charged with was public intoxication. So Lasko and his partner took him to the Liberty County Jail, where he was booked, released on bond the next day, and disappeared.
It's frustrating because we had him, and now he's gone.
Nikki says no one realized just how gone Greer was until days later, when Greer's sons from his first marriage returned from Christmas vacation with their mother.
And when their mom goes to drop them off, they start freaking out. We don't want to go home.
The boys had been with their mother since the day Tammy Myers disappeared. Now, 11 days later, they were telling their mother that the morning she picked them up, they heard their father shoot Tammy Myers. Their mother took the boys straight down to the sheriff's office for an interview. That's when Detective Miller got involved.
They indicated that sometime around December the 19th, between 2 and 5, they heard Greer and Marty. One of them described hearing what sounded like Tammy running down the hall highway and being homeless to that. He also described gunshot and he heard Ruth make it dead. He was still alive.
At this point, they obtain a search warrant and they go into his house.
When Detective Miller arrived at the, he told the detectives he didn't know the house was a crime scene. It wasn't clean enough.
He's taken property out of the house. We learned that he had taken some gun at the direction of Mr. Greer.
Still, says Miller, the house was clearly a crime scene.
There were so many bullet holes in the background that I noticed there was like blood smear on some of the walls. I walked into the bedroom. You know, there's so blood on the side of the mattress. There were bullets holes in the bedroom.
And so what William Greer had actually told those Liberty County deputies turned out to be true.
Yes.
One more thing you should know about that night. Deputies found Tammy's cell phone on the front seat of Greer's truck. They used it to call Tammy's mother, who Nikki says told deputies that Greer had been physically abusing her daughter.
The older I get, the more angry I get. They really felt not only her, but just everyone in the situation.
Nikki says it still infuriates her that on the night Greer confessed, a search warrant would have made all the difference. Why didn't they seek a search warrant to get into the house that evening?
I think at that particular time, based on what Greer had told Liberty County, because of his intoxicated state, they couldn't verify or substantiate whether that was credible information.
Miller says that night there just wasn't enough probable cause for a search warrant. And even after searching Greer's home, they still couldn't find Tammy.
We actually did a search of the house, and we had to cadaver dogs go out and do a search of the property, and we didn't find anything.
Detective Miller says they also searched the woods where Greer had been arrested. Still, even without Tammy's body, the Harris County District Attorney's Office felt they had enough to charge Greer with first-degree murder. And on March 16, 2007, nearly 3 months after Greer's drunken confession, a grand jury voted to indict him. There was just one problem, says former Deputy U.S. Marshal Leslie Raymond.
He was in the wind. By the time they figured out a murder had occurred, Will was gone.
One family, 2 deaths, a haunting crime scene with a tangle of provocative evidence. 48 Hours. Peter Van Sant hosts a true crime limited series podcast. Brothers Figure, The Hargan Family Killers. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe now.
Our beloved Julie. Their daughter taken and mistaken.
Nikki Bates was just 9 years old when she and her brothers shared memories of their mother with the television show America's Most Wanted.
It reminds me of all spend time together.
Nikki hoped that viewers might recognize the man who had allegedly killed her mother and then disappeared, William Greer. Did it give you some hope?
It did.
Once we got him on America's Most Wanted, we started getting tips.
Detective Miller says that after the first mention of Greer on the show, he and his partner were finally beginning to learn about the fugitive's first few days on the run.
The day after Greer got out of jail, he went to his sister's house and basically said that he had done something bad and he wanted to change his life and he was leaving town. So his sister had given him some money for that purpose.
From there, Greer had gone to Savannah, Georgia, to see his half-brother, Daniel Dobson. So Detective Miller and his partners did the same.
He said that he hit her with
This is a recording of Dobson being questioned.
He said she died of harm. He freaked out, went out and buried her.
And buried her to where nobody would find her.
That's the phrase he used, where nobody would find her.
When he finally admitted what he did, I did everything I could to get him off his property that day.
We had taken Greer to a truck stop and just dropped him off there, and he hadn't seen him since.
In July 2007, Greer had been on the run for 6 months when he got a job as a cook at this deli in New Orleans. Working alongside this man, John Morales.
He told me that his name was Billy. I asked him what his last name was. He wouldn't tell me what his last name was.
Morales says he and the man he knew as Billy got along so well, they decided to room together. And Billy began to open up about his past.
Billy told me that he had kids. He told me that he had an ex-wife, and that his ex-wife wasn't allowing him to see the kids, and that's why he was traveling.
Morales says it wasn't long before his new roommate began to drink heavily and became progressively stranger.
He would start crying and say that he didn't want to wind up in hell.
Even more disturbing, says Morales, were Greer's plans for the future.
He would say that he wanted to live off grid, that he wanted to find another wife, at some point, and have more kids. Then he would take the downward spiral again and say, if I ever find out she's cheating on me, I'll kill her.
Then, says Morales, Greer began using drugs. The men parted ways and Morales moved to Florida. Weeks later, a friend from the deli called to say that the man they knew as Billy had just been featured on America's Most Wanted. Morales was one of 5 tipsters who called police. But by the time detectives arrived to investigate, Greer was gone.
This is definitely the hat that was in that photo.
Left behind was his signature cowboy hat, a possible taunt aimed at his pursuers. It would take 2 more months before there was another credible tip, this time from Georgetown, Kentucky, where Greer had found God.
He just came into the service one Sunday morning.
Connie Jackson Osborne, pastor of the Victory Tabernacle Church, says she knew Greer as Billy Leslie. He said he was new to the area and was looking for handyman work. He offered to help around the church.
He seemed very nice, very personable. He got right in with different ones in the congregation, participated.
Billy even asked to be baptized, but when he learned that his photograph would be taken for posterity, Pastor Connie says he nearly backed out. But Greer changed his mind and allowed this photo to be taken of his baptism on August 26, 2007. 1 month later, a member of the congregation would see the now baptized Billy on America's Most Wanted.
And if I may quote one little passage from the Bible to you as a pastor, even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light.
Yes, he does. And it was funny when I found out he was wanted because he was living right across the street from the police station.
Hiding in plain sight. But by the time investigators arrived, Greer had taken off again.
They lived in a hurry. You see before they're still turning.
This guy literally thought that he could victimize not only Tammy, but everybody else that he encountered while he was on the run, kind of just thumbing his nose in her face.
More than 3 years had gone by with no credible leads when Cameron Welch, a deputy marshal with the Southern District of Texas U.S. Marshal Service, joined the case. Welch followed up old leads, hoping for new information, dug deeper into Greer's past and found yet another ex-wife. He told detectives that Greer had abused her as well.
He was able to convince these women that he was just a great guy. He would use everything that he needed, and then he would move on.
Welch spent 2 years chasing down new leads, with Greer was nowhere to be found.
So where do you go from here? Square one. It's just keep it pressure.
In 2012, Welch was assigned to another case. Deputy Marshal Leslie Raymond took over the now 5-year-long hunt for Greer and named it Operation Hatchetop.
And why'd you name it that?
William Greer was missing a toe. And how do you use it? Say one accident.
This is the famous missing quest.
The marshals believed that unique feature would eventually tip people off to Greer's true identity.
If you have a murderer in your house and this murderer is missing a toe, they're going to easily do what you do.
Do you think Greer's missing toe will help the U.S. Marshals steal their man? Check me out at the 48 Hours Street on the Facebook and
This podcast is supported by FedEx. FedEx offers fast delivery, more stability, simple returns, and weekend home delivery to 98% of the U.S. population on Saturday and 50% on Sunday. With FedEx, you get picture-perfect delivery, ensuring you always know where your package is. Returns are simple with packageless and paperless returns. Plus, FedEx Ground is also faster to more locations than UPS Ground. See the FedEx service guide for delivery information. So what are you waiting for? See what FedEx can do for your business. Absolutely, positively FedEx.
Say goodbye to performance routing engine deposits with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Hate to break it to you, but lower grade fuel can leave deposits in your engine, build up over time, and leave your engine's performance severely lacking. Thankfully, Shell V-Power Nitro Plus removes up to 100% of performance robbing deposits with continuous use in gasoline direct injection engine fuel injectors. Download the Shell app today to find your nearest Shell station and rejuvenate your engine with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Fuel up at Shell.
In late 2012, when Deputy U.S. Marshal Leslie Raymond took over the hunt for William Greer, he studied the case and investigated new leads with no luck.
This is the best information.
Then, in 2016, Raymond and his now associate investigator, Deputy Josh Wright, returned to the last place Greer had been seen.
Just wanted to show you some pictures.
This time, the TV show Crime Watch Daily was helping keep the heat on the fugitive.
We spent some time in Kentucky traveling and interviewing people, following up on leads. I pretty much was sure that he was using the railways to move around, hopping trains. And the last good solid source put him on a train going south, and I said, this guy's in Mexico.
Raymond asked to have the outlaw placed on the U.S. Marshal's 15 most wanted list, which alerts law enforcement agencies worldwide to be on the lookout for Greer. A $25,000 reward was also offered for his arrest.
And money helps loosen lips.
And it wasn't long before that reward and Raymond's instincts appeared to be paying off.
We obtained information from a reliable source that William Greer had set up a new line south of the border in Mexico.
The deputies would not tell us who that reliable source was, but someone in Mexico had called it a tip, telling investigators that they knew where Greer was hiding out.
We investigated hundreds of tips over the course of this fugitive investigation, and so we knew that it had to be verified.
But U.S. Marshals don't have jurisdiction in Mexico, so Operation Cachito was now in the hands of Mexican authorities, who checked out the tip. While the Marshal's office was kept informed at every turn, Mexican police were now surveilling the man they all hoped was William Greer.
I can tell you, I did not sleep. Josh and I were anxiously awaiting finding out what the result was.
The next morning, they got the confirmation they hoped for. The man spotted in Mexico was indeed William Greer. Now, he had to be captured. Mexican authorities learned that Greer was living practically off the grid, down this dirt road in the tiny southern town of Taxco. He had a wife and 2 young children.
People tell me he's very reserved. He was very nice, very polite, hard-working guy, but very reserved.
Paulina Gomez, a producer based in Mexico City, recently traveled to Taxco for 48 hours and learned that Greer had most likely been in Mexico for about 6 to 7 years. He met his new wife while living in the Mexican state of Chiapas. By the time they moved to Taxco, they had an infant daughter and toddler son named William. He's the biological father
of these 2 kids.
By 2017, locals say Greer had been living in Taxco for about 3 years. Some people call him El Gringo.
You didn't know his name?
No. Tilo Perez lived next door to the fugitive and says he was a good neighbor. He was calm. He didn't mess with anyone. We had learned that he had a carpentry company. He was building furniture, and he employed a couple employees. Greer had been a master of avoiding arrest, but on the morning of November 28, 2017, his days on the run finally came to an end. When Greer was taken by surprise by a swarm of undercover police.
U.S. Marshal Service would like to announce the arrest of William Joseph Pierce.
He completely denied that it was him. I just wished I could have been there to see his face when they removed his shoe.
They did remove the shoe.
Absolutely.
And what did they see?
Missing toe.
Operation Catch It Toe.
Correct.
That had finally succeeded.
That's right.
It was a good feeling.
And I wasn't crying, he was crying.
Nikki was 18 years old when she got the news that her mother's killer had finally been captured.
I just cried. I just remember crying because it was not expected. It was just an overwhelming feeling.
Greer was promptly flown to George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston, where he was arrested on U.S. soil.
And how satisfying was that? Extremely satisfying.
Leslie Raymond says Greer recognized him from all the TV coverage.
He saw me and said, "Hey, I know who you are. I'm your biggest fan."
He was exactly how I imagined he'd be. Very arrogant. He would tell us how he eluded us.
And that's really what we were interested in as fugitive investigators. We wanted to know, how did he get away for so long? And how did he get to Mexico?
The deputy marshals say they always suspected that Greer had been getting around on 18-wheelers and trains.
Greer confirmed that he did end up taking a train from Kentucky, and he headed west until he found another train heading south. That's how he ended up crossing into Mexico.
Raymond and Wright delivered Greer to the sheriff's office, where Sid Miller, now a sergeant investigator, attempted to interrogate him. Miller tried to push Greer to tell him where he had buried Tim. Greer suggested that he would cooperate. But instead, he asked for an attorney and shut down the interview.
Shit, you okay, brother?
With Greer behind bars, it was now up to the Harris County District Attorney's Office to try the case.
I was like, okay, we're finally gonna have some closure.
But what ended up happening stunned just about everyone. The disappointment of Greer's.
You're mine!
This board signed for 48 hours. Built behind every true crime episode with first-hand accounts from 48 hours investigations.
Were you at all prepared for what happened in this case?
Shock is the one that goes to happen. Yes, like the twists and turns and get in on the case. And this is good one's for 48 hours. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
It's 3 o'clock somewhere. Time for a My Mochi ice cream snack. My Mochi ice cream is cool, creamy scoops of creamy moisture wrapped in sweet filling dough. And get this, all of My Mochi's fabulous flavors, like strawberry, mangoes, double chocolate, and cookies and cream, only around 80 calories per piece. Top of that with guilt-free indulgent experience. Each box of My Mochi ice cream has 6 perfectly portioned gluten-free mochis that are great for grabbing. So feel good while curbing your afternoon cravings or the midnight munchies. Yeah, you know who you are with the joyfully chill sensation of My Mochi ice cream.
Find My Mochi ice cream at Target or visit mymochi.com to locate a grocery store near you.
It's harder to focus than ever these days. Thankfully, C4 has reinvented the energy drink game with C4 Smart Energy, the only energy drink clinically proven to provide enhanced mental focus, containing 200 milligrams of natural caffeine, a blend of vitamins, and